Hang on. We'll flick on a light, make this look a bit better, right? It's starting to get dark. We're not very high tech here. That better? How is everybody? Who have we got? I'll have to catch up and see. Cully McCulloch, the dog auntie. Nick is just finishing on TikTok now. We'll be on very soon. There's 6 other people, guys. Let me know who's here. Whether you're regulars, whether you're TikTok followers who are jumping on for the first time. We're here, first of all, with my beautiful baby scrub python, who is, I think, growing. G'day, Basil. How are you, mate? Janee, how are you? Is there a reptile centre in the Northern Territory? Maybe do a video on Australia's big lizard, the Parenti. I would love to do a video on the Parenti. I know somebody who keeps one in New South Wales. So if I can get over there, he will let me film with his Parenti. There's a few reptile facilities in the Northern Territory. In Alice Springs, there's a reptile park that have said I can get there. The thing is, I live in regional Victoria. So we've got trips to Brisbane planned, to Cairns planned, all to do videos. We will go anywhere that you guys can get us. So visiting other states, maybe one day other countries, to do videos really comes down to YouTube and Patreon. So yeah, it's our Patreon supporters who help us make these sort of trips. But I'd love to get to the Northern Territory again. My friends, not you, Remy. You're welcome. Jumped over from TikTok. G'day, Dwayne. How are ya? G'day, Mighty Mouse. How is everybody? Everybody, I'm sorry about Tamara and Remy. They're having a blue. I'll have to ground them both. Sydney, how are you, mate? You'll have to excuse me, I'm catching my breath. I've been talking a million miles an hour over on TikTok. But it's been a great day. I do, of course, before we get too far into it, I do have to shout out, we've got some channel sponsors. There is Perth Reptile Relocations. There is Warrnambool Wildlife Encounters, and Jeremy DeHaan. He's got his own snake catching business. I can't remember the name. It's only recent. He's only started up in the last week, but I will put it in the comments at the end of this video. So make sure you follow that. Perth Reptile Relocations and Warrnambool Wildlife Encounters. They're kind enough to support us on Patreon. Catch my breath. Show us the mug. The mug, guys. You'll be sick of seeing this mug, but it's pretty cool. We've got Wicked Wildlife mugs. Wicked Wildlife on one side, and I don't know if you can read it. Be nice to wildlife on the other. And of course, we've got shirts and jumpers and all the merch. Which again, all goes for animals, all goes to getting us to visit places like the Northern Territory and Queensland. Hello, it's still 30 degrees outside in Melbourne. Yeah, that's why we're back in this room. We've been in this room 2 weeks in a row. And it's because it's 30 degrees here, and which is why I'm sweating. Which means all the lights are turned off in the other room. And pitch black tanks doesn't make a very good video. So, but we have our baby scrub python, who you guys have all been watching. G'day, Cobber. How are you, Rare Aussie? Been great. I'm glad to hear you're great. It's been a warm day. It's been nice. We went for a drive. We saw some shinglebacks out on the road. We saw a blotched bluey out on the road. My daughter got to give him a quick pat, let him go. So yeah, it's been a good day. But the topic we want to talk about tonight, and we're 3 minutes in, I'm just getting to the topic. The scrub exhibit looks similar to the Atherton Tablelands. Yeah, amazing. I love them. So the topic that we're going to talk about tonight is series. We've never done series before. I've always done standalone videos. And if you watched our video on Sunday, you would have seen it's episode 1 of our first series. We're doing a series at the moment of the 10 most invasive species on Australia. And I reckon it'll make a few people grumpy. There'll be a few animals on there that people say don't belong on there. And there'll be a few animals that aren't on there that people are like, why aren't they on the list? But basically, it's a list of the 10 animals or 10 invasive species based on how many threatened species they're considered a risk to. So we did the 10th most invasive species in the country, which is feral cattle. And this Sunday, we're going to do number 9. So that'll give us the next 10 weeks. And I've been thinking, one of you guys suggested maybe for episode 11, if I can stretch it out one more week, we'll do some honourable mentions. We'll talk about the animals that didn't make the list, that people expect to be on the invasive species list, and you know, why. The damage they cause and maybe why they don't quite make the list of the top 10. So we're going to do that. But I've been talking to our Patreon supporters, and we're considering starting to write up the notes, because it takes a lot of work to put a series like this together. But we're thinking about our project for next year is a series on Australia's deadly dozen, the 12 most dangerous animals in Australia. And we've had some mixed reports. Calling number one is either humans or cats. So yeah, I'm taking humans out of it. We're pretty bad. But so yeah, I'm considering doing a series on Australia's deadly dozen. And I want to know what you guys think. We've had some people who are like, oh, it sounds like a great idea. And we've had other people who are really anti the idea. And I get it why. Like people say, oh, well, humans are the most dangerous, and then horses and dogs are the most dangerous, and everybody makes Australian wildlife out to be dangerous. And I get it. It's true. The most venomous snakes in the country are not that dangerous compared to cars and lightning and vending machines. But if you guys watch my videos, you know what I'm going to be like. It's going to be very much of, these are animals that have the potential to hurt you, but this is how people get hurt. They're doing the wrong thing, and this is the realities of this animal. So the deadly dozen, I don't want to call it a clickbait, but I've got to get you guys to watch. So yes, we want to do a series on Australia's deadly dozen. I'm not going to suddenly become an over-the-top, wildlife presenter. If you guys watch our videos, you know me. I'm pretty much down to the facts. I don't like to exaggerate. My philosophy from the very start has been animals are cool enough as is. We shouldn't have to hype them up to make them cool. So if you guys want to see that deadly dozen, let us know, and let us know what animals you think should be on there. We're thinking, I'd love to do 1 or 2 sharks, 1 or 2 spiders, things like that. Whereabouts is the red-tailed black cockatoo found? There's, last count, there was 5 subspecies of red-tailed blacks. We've got 1 species of red-tailed black here in Hamilton, or just outside Hamilton, that's critically endangered. There's only 1,500 of them. But you've got another red-tailed black, Samueli, which is what Rocco, our red-tail, is, which is found throughout Central Australia into Western Australia. You've got the forest red-tailed black found in the bottom of Western Australia. You've got other red-tailed blacks found North Queensland across the Northern Territory. So yeah, that's pretty much Northern Australia, Central Australia, Western Australia, and Southeastern South Australia. Hey Nick, have you thinking of having your own zoo? Maybe 2,000 animals similar to Wild Action. Yeah, like we do the same thing as Wild Action. I know Wild Action very well. I know a lot of people who work there. I know the owner. We do the same thing. We're just smaller. I don't need 2,000 animals because I live in a small town. So I only keep enough animals that, I've got work for. I don't want to be a hoarder. If I have enough bookings to justify 2,000 animals, we'll do it. But yeah, I'm not going to keep animals just so I've got more animals than somebody else. But we do have basically a mini private zoo. It's just a smaller version. Maybe add nocturnal exhibits and do animal presentations. We keep nocturnal animals. We've got a wombat, we've got possums, we've got sugar gliders. We're just not open to the public. Do I have a lace monitor? I do have a lace monitor. Kind of worried about sharks. People don't seem to have realised that sharks don't need to be controlled. I know. And look, that's what I'm hesitant about. At first, I didn't like the idea. But I'm thinking if I did it, if you know me, I'd be doing it as, these are the shark species that are dangerous to people. And this is how many people a year they kill. But this is how many people vending machines kill every year. So, the reality is, sharks, snakes, I don't like demonizing any animal, but there is a certain point where we have to say sharks, crocodiles, snakes, they are dangerous. People is what makes them dangerous. Like, it's our actions. But it's like saying guns and cars aren't dangerous. A stationary car is not dangerous. It's the person that makes it dangerous. But cars still become dangerous because of what we do. So I see both sides. I don't want to demonize any animal. But basically, I think it'll be more like if mistreated, these are the animals that can be dangerous to you. So I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. It'd take me a lot because I'd really have to get around a fair chunk of the country to do it. Name call, please. Nick, and she doesn't have a name yet. Snake's name. This girl doesn't have a name. I haven't named her yet because I haven't figured out if it's a boy or a girl. We're hoping it's a girl, but I'm in no real rush to find out. We've got to probe her. Get a stainless steel probe to figure out if it's a boy or a girl. And you can do it at this size, but the bigger they are, the more accurate it is. And yeah, I'd rather do it when she's a little bit bigger. So in the next few months, we'll probably get her probed, and we'll come up with a name. Usually we leave it up to sort of our Patreon supporters, things like that. And we can. Do I own bats? I don't currently own any bats. I'll put this girl away. We'll get somebody else out for a minute. Go on, name it tomorrow so she shuts up. So I don't currently keep any bats. I did have a flying fox years ago called Petrie, who was one of the coolest animals I've ever owned. The thing with bats is you keep one. I had one because I had a wildlife park approach me and they said that they had one flying fox that he was a little black flying fox. And he'd fallen off his mother in the aviary at a zoo. He'd been hand raised, and every time they tried to reintroduce him to the colony, he got beat up. So they wanted a home for him where he wasn't going to get beat up. But generally, they need to be kept in big groups. And we're not talking 3 or 4. They live in thousands and thousands. They feel safer with lots of company. So if you're going to keep flying foxes or bats, you need to keep at least a group of them. So we'll get some again one day. I love bats. I've handled them a fair bit. I've kept them in wildlife parks and kept them myself. But yeah, we don't have any currently. Can we see the lazy? I can get out the lazy. Well, I can try getting out the lazy. It's a hot day and I don't fancy getting stitches, but we'll see how we go. Alrighty, so you're lucky. This is Lucy. She won't be out long because she's going to claw me to pieces. But you're lucky because I actually spent today cleaning out Lucy's outdoor enclosure. So this is probably her last day inside. She'll be moving outdoors tomorrow now that the weather's here nice and warm. So we'll get her out for a little while. Yeah, Lucy here is a lace goanna, or tree goanna, which is the second largest species of lizard in the country, behind, of course, the parenti. And most people in Australia, when they're thinking about large goannas, this is what they're thinking of. Just because, the parenti might get longer, but it's found in the centre of Australia. Not many people there. This species here, Lucy, stay still. This species here is a species that people see at the campsites all over Eastern Australia. Things like, I'm not going to play with you too long, you're going to bite me. But yeah, this is a species, if you live in East Gippsland, anywhere up the east coast of Australia, the goannas that everybody sees this species here, the lace goanna. She's only a young one, she's maybe 18 months old. Thanks, Luce. Oh, I thought she was sitting still because she's being nice, but she's sitting still because she had to piss all over me. But you're gross. You happy? So anyway, goannas. So yeah, Lucy is lace goanna, tree goanna. And the word goanna is actually a really cool sort of story. A lot of folks, used to tell me that, the word goanna comes from the Aboriginal word racehorse. And as a kid, fair enough, sounds right, they're fast. And it wasn't until I was an adult and I had a lady come and tell me this. And I said, okay, what did they call them before horses came to Australia? Because, of course, there's no Aboriginal word for racehorse. Racehorses weren't here for the last 80,000 years. So, the word goanna actually comes from the word iguana. When Australians, when Europeans first arrived in Australia, we'd already been in the Americas, we'd seen iguanas. Australians, with our lazy accents, changed iguana to goanna. And, I know, you've done your business and you want to go back to wriggling around. So over 200 years of slurring, we made up the word goanna. Overseas reptile keepers don't like this word because of this. They call them monitor lizards, which is really a better name. My argument, though, is we've got 2/3 of the world goanna species. So if we call them goannas, the rest of the world has to deal with that. But there you go. The lace goanna, one of the coolest lizards in the country. Probably my favourite lizard. These guys and shinglebacks are pretty close. But I'll put her away before she gets too grumpy. But you're going to say hello to everybody, Luce? No. All right, guys. I'll pop her away. We'll get out. I'll wash my hand. And we'll get out somebody else for a little while, eh? All right. We'll get out Mr. Spots. Whoop. Lucy's showing things well, probably never get to see. Yeah, so I'd love to show off Lucy a bit more. We're working on a bunch of new outdoor reptile enclosures, and we will get some videos outdoors at some point in time. Once I pull my finger out and organise some decent internet. Reckon Lacey's, but Parenti's on average, or send you photos. Oh, hang on. I'm missing the conversation there. See many carpet snakes. Had one in my room. I love carpet pythons. I used to catch a lot of carpet pythons when I lived in North Queensland, out of people's houses and things like this. But no, not these days. What kind of colours do they come in? The lace goanna. Lace goannas basically come in black and yellow, but they come in two main colour forms. So there's the regular phase, which is what you see Lucy. She's got black with yellow stripes on her. Then there's the Bell's phase lace goanna, which has your big, thick yellow bands. So they're the two main colours. Within that, there's variations. You can have a Bell's phase lacy that's more yellow than black. You can have a Bell's phase lacy that's more black than yellow. And you can have the regular pattern lacies that go from those really thin yellow stripes, like Lucy, to lots of yellow stripes and speckles and dots. Down in Victoria, they're almost jet black. So they do vary quite a bit. Wild Action has presented crocodiles, only small ones, because I know soldiers can go big. I've got crocodiles. I'll get a crocodile out later. Yeah, I know Wild Action has crocodiles. I volunteered there as a kid. I've worked with far bigger crocodiles. If you follow Wicked Wildlife on Facebook, there might be some videos up there. I don't know. So when I did my sort of apprenticeship as a zookeeper, I lived in North Queensland, Townsville. So unusually, most people, and it makes sense, most people who work with crocodiles start off with hatchling crocodiles and they get bigger and bigger. Whereas I moved to North Queensland. I've done a little bit with crocodiles. I've done it, worked for a company doing birthday parties. But I went to North Queensland and within a month of being up there, I was doing crocodile feeding shows. So we had some 4, 4.5, 1 5 metre long crocodile up there. So I was doing 3 crocodile feeding shows a day. With crocodiles not big enough to put me, give me stitches. Crocodiles big enough to eat me. So, Eccleston, how are you? My baby is well. He just does not know when he's supposed to sleep, which is why I am death warmed up. I am exhausted. But he is very well. Carpet snakes nest in the wardrobe at 11 young was beautiful. Baby carpet buttons are cute. Congratulations on being a father. Thank you very much. The second and last time. So this guy here is, of course, Mr. Spots. If you're regulars, you'll know him. We'll get a crocodile out next, okay? But Mr. Spots is a spotted python. This species is one of the children's python family. So in the children's python family, we've got the spotted, the children, the Stimsons, the pygmy python. Sorry you're late. Don't be sorry, Kyle. Rock up when you can. It's all good. But this particular species, the spotted, is found basically on the east side of the Great Dividing Range. So you're talking from the Queensland-New South Wales border, right to the tip of Cape York, up into through the Torres Strait and into Papua New Guinea. Watching from WA. Oh, I wish I could get to WA, but you guys are almost your own country these days. Nobody's allowed over there. One of our channel sponsors, Perth Reptile Relocations, they're a snake catcher based in Western Australia. So if you like snakes and you like Western Australian snakes, check out Michael on Perth Reptile Relocations. He puts up videos on his Facebook page all the time catching Western Australian tiger snakes and dugongs and cool things like that. So, yeah. So, this species, spotted python, east coast of Australia, up the Great Dividing Range, and basically feeds on all sorts of cool things. My favourite thing is these guys, when we used to find them, anywhere where there's bats, these guys absolutely love bats, which is pretty cool, I reckon. A bat-eating snake. I wish we could travel over there. Shame International. Yeah, we're going to be able to travel to... I'm going to be able to visit Dingo in South Africa before I manage to visit Michael in West Australia. Since Australia isn't open, I'm heading to Manchester. I heard that, Eccleston. Australia is starting to open up. But we're going to have this weird thing where some states are open and other states aren't. So Victoria, where I live, we had our first international people arrive to Australia today or yesterday. And New South Wales is the same. But Queensland won't let you in. Northern Territory won't let you in. Even as an Australian, I can't visit South Australia, which is an hour from my house. So my nearest city is in a state that I'm not allowed to go in. My uncle had a snake, but the day before I arrived, it escaped. You hear a lot of people who have snakes escape, and it's easy enough to do. If you're on a Snake Catcher's Facebook page, every couple of weeks somebody's lost a snake in their house and they're wondering where they can find it. So it does happen. They are escape artists. Maybe we'll put Mr. Spots away. Would you like to see a crocodile? The crocodile's not much better than Lucy to take out, but I can take out a crocodile. I can't travel 30 minutes over the border of Queensland. I know it's terrible tomorrow, but I'll get to Queensland at some point. I don't know, if Queensland and Coffs is that close, maybe I should do them in the same trip. He found it out on the washing line. Are dingoes common in cities? Not particularly. Dingoes are a lot more common than people make them out to be. The vast majority of wild dogs that are shot in Australia are, either dingo or high purity dingo. And there's a good argument amongst, dingo people at the moment. How pure does a dingo have to be a dingo? And it used to be considered that, if a dingo has any dog in it, it's a problem for the ecosystem and it's, not good. We should remove it so it's not good for dingoes. But we now sort of are changing our mind a little bit about this. Genetic studies have shown that 75% of all dingoes that have been shot for the bounty in Eastern Australia have either been dingo or more than 3/4 dingo. And in America, for instance, the grey wolf, in America has grey wolves that are jet black. Very rarely, but occasionally. They don't exist in Europe. And the reason they get black wolves is thousands of years ago, when the first Americans arrived to America, the United States, they had their domestic dogs that carried the black gene over. So any black wolf today has dog ancestry in it from a long, long, long time ago, but we still consider them wolves. So it raises a good point. How pure does a dingo have to be considered a dingo? I know of dingoes outside cities like Darwin, Townsville, Cairns. You're not talking city centres, but they are there. Kim, g'day, how are you? Ada, I know you're watching, how are you doing? Tamara, thank you very much, Tamara. You're the best. We get spotted pythons up here in the bananas. Yeah, they certainly love getting in all that stuff. G'day, Ada, how are you doing? Tamara is buying the naming rights. Tamara does do a bit of work. She reminds me every Tuesday. For those of you who know me, I'm all over the place. I'm usually 1,000,000 miles an hour and then something's way back there that I should have got to. So Tamara reminds me every Tuesday that it's live stream day. And then reminds me at 8:30 every Tuesday that I have to hop off TikTok and hop back onto YouTube. So I suppose she probably does her fair share. Can king browns eat death adders? King browns would eat death adders like a pack of M&Ms. King browns are basically snake eaters. In fact, the king part of their name. So king browns aren't actually brown snakes. They're in the they're mulga snakes. So they're in the black family. But the king part of their name refers to them being a snake eater. So the king cobra, snake eater, king snake, snake eater, king brown, snake eater. King browns eat other snakes, and they have absolutely no hesitation eating other venomous snakes. So buying likes tomorrow. You two are terrible. All right, we'll get out of crocodiles. Don't have to buy them. I'm the favorite. Heard of this company called Roo Keepers? They do animal presentations. Yeah, I know Roo Keepers pretty well. I worked with Michael. I can't remember his name now. I was a zookeeper at Ballarat Wildlife Park when Michael got his first zookeeping job. So I left to do displays. I was talking to him, and he said, "Oh, this is a good idea." So he left to do displays not long after. So yeah, I know Michael. Michael Church runs Roo Keepers. So yeah, I know them pretty well. We do the same thing. Mobile wildlife presentations is what we do for a job. Drama fight. I know. I'll have to put another person as a moderator to control Tamara and Rami. Do I have spitting cobras? No, I can't keep spitting cobras. We can only keep native Australian reptiles. That being said, I've worked with 2 species of spitting cobras, which not many Australians could probably say. I've worked with Mozambique spitters, and I worked with Siamese spitters, or black and white spitters as Americans call them, which are really cool. So one's an Asian spitter and one's an African spitter. And the interesting thing about spitting cobras, people imagine that all spitting cobras are related, like there's cobras and spitting cobras. But African spitters and Asian spitters aren't very closely related. In fact, African spitters spat for like 1 million years before Asian spitters did. And the theory is, when we look at the evolution of spitting in cobras, the African spitters started spitting venom. We have, the evidence that they started being able to spit venom about the same time as you have upright hominids, people, or the ancestors of people. This trait, standing up and spitting, didn't evolve in Asia until a long, long time later when hominids arrived to Asia. Now, we can't prove it's because of hominids. It could just be a coincidence. But monkeys, apes, all the simians have a habit of mobbing snakes. If you look at monkeys, when they see a snake, they will scream, they carry on, they run away, and if they can't run away, or if they're in big enough numbers, they surround it, they throw rocks and things at it. And humans have barely outgrown that. A lot of humans would still do that in a lot of places in the world. That's how we carry on. So it kind of makes sense that the ability to keep an angry ape a couple of meters away from you would evolve at different times. So yeah, the Asian spitters and the African spitters both evolved spitting independently of one another, which is really interesting. Have I met the guys at Cough Harbour Snake Place? I haven't. Rami used to work there. So you vote Eccleston for mod. I'll have to put Eccleston for mod. The only problem with Eccleston, we appreciate Val very, very much. But it's like 4 o'clock in the morning for Eccleston, and I'd hate to make her feel like she has to be here. We appreciate her coming. But yeah. She does a fantastic job just getting to a live stream. Do we have mongoose in Australia? No, Australia's got no mongoose. Interestingly, I think the goannas that we have, the lace goannas, all that sort of stuff, they probably fill the same role that mongoose do in other countries. That medium-sized or small to medium-sized active predator. Ever been into ants, Nick? Not really. They're cool. Like, I'd love to go to somebody else's house who keeps ants and look at their collection. But I'm not going to suddenly get into them myself. A friend of mine in Queensland that I used to work with, he's now collecting and selling ants as a big part of his hobby. Can I do a video comparing scrub pythons and olive pythons? Did a video on scrub pythons interacting with olive pythons. I should do. Unfortunately, my olive python at the moment is 3 meters long. I'll get the olive out. Did I get the olive out on tonight's video? I got it out on TikTok. I can't remember. My olive python and my scrub python are very different in sizes at the moment. So maybe one point. What are my thoughts on Chandler's Wildlife drinking cobra venom? I haven't seen it. I know Chandler's done it. I know Dingo, our friends in South Africa, they've done it. I'm not going to do it for a couple of reasons. Maybe I'll put this guy away. I'll get out Natasha the olive python, and then we can talk about why I'm not a fan. All right. Think we might start deleting Chandler comments. Might have to. I've actually spoken to Chandler just once. He wouldn't know me from a bar soap, but I've spoken to Chandler once. And he's a really nice guy. Like he said, your videos look good. He said some nice things. But yeah, we have different styles. That's fine. All right, so. Only on TikTok, no. Start deleting Chandler. Won't the toxins still be in his kidneys? Not here yet, no TikTok. All right. So this is Natasha. Natasha's our olive python. I can't take her and the scrubby out at the same time because our scrubby is like this big. and Natasha is a known snake eater. She has eaten at least 2 male olive pythons with their last owner. So I won't be mixing these two together. But I'll do a video on the 2 species side by side one day. Thank you very much, Haley. And the bub is doing very well. He runs the household at this point, but that's what newborns are supposed to do. So my thoughts on people drinking snake venom. Chandler's done it, Dingo's done it. I'm not going to do it for a couple of reasons. It is possible. Snake venom is made of very, very large proteins. And they're proteins that denature in stomach acid. That being said, if you've got a cut or a scratch in your mouth, if you've got irritable bowel syndrome, and I've already got stomach issues, there's no guarantee that you wouldn't be envenomated internally. So like if you've got a cut in your mouth, it's no different from being bitten inside of your mouth. But in theory, you can drink snake venom and have it. Seen Lance on Dingoes got spit in the eye. I've actually been spat in the eye by Mozambique spitter, and it sucks. I reckon there'd be less than 10 Australians you could say they've had spitting cobra venom in their eye. In South Africa, it's a dime a dozen, I suppose. But yeah, so in theory, you can drink snake venom, obviously, and it's fine. The reason I'm not going to do this, for a start, it could also go wrong. On top of that, I don't really like this. There's this old thing that venom is injected and poison is ingested. And I agree with it to an extent. But I don't like the fact that reptile keepers love to like hammer. If you call a snake poisonous on a reptile Facebook page, everybody will make you out to be an idiot. That, you know, snakes are venomous, they're not poisonous. And for a start, there is snakes that are legitimately poisonous to eat. Not many, but there is some. On top of this, the word poison in some dictionaries refers to exclusively things that are ingested. But in most dictionaries, and in the English language for the last, 500 years, poison has basically just meant a substance that is capable of causing harm or death, which makes venoms poisons. So yeah, I could drink snake venom, but it doesn't prove that venoms and poisons are different. Whether or not venoms and poisons are different is whether you want to go by the English definition or whether you want to go by the scientific definition. And I'm not going to hammer anybody who's not a herpetologist for preferring to go with the English definition. The other thing is, if we're going to go by the thing that venoms are injected and poisons are ingested, there are some issues with this. There's been studies done on rats where they were ingesting cobra venom and they didn't die, but over time they did have some of the long-term damage that you'd expect to see in a snakebite victim. So it's doing something to them. There's a single case of a man in, I think, China or Vietnam who's drinking snake wine, which is where they usually take a cobra, stick it in wine. It's gross. And then they drink the wine. He was drinking snake wine. He went to hospital very sick. Turns out he had all the symptoms of cobra envenomation. So again, possible that ingesting that venom hurt him. The biggest reason I don't like it is some of the chemicals. If we're going to be scientific, if the argument is that it's scientifically correct, that poison is all ingested, venom is all injected, there's exceptions to the rule. And I don't like saying things when there's exceptions to the rule. For example, the blue-ringed octopus, one of the most venomous animals on the planet, has a poison called tetrodotoxin. And it injects it, so it's a venom in the blue-ringed octopus. But if you eat a pufferfish and you don't prepare it properly, you're going to die. And the thing that will kill you, the poison that will kill you, is also tetrodotoxin. So not only can an animal be venomous or poisonous, not only can venoms, a chemical in a snake that's designed to inject you, also be dangerous if ingested. There is actually chemicals that are used by one species as one and one species as the other. So yeah, it's a great way to get views. All the power to them. I'm not going to do it because I'm not a fan of that. Fatback, got to go. Have a nice evening. No worries. Thank you very much. Sydney sounds like this Dingo guy is like Steve Irwin. Yeah, he's Dingo's a really nice guy. I get along with him very, very well. But he's a different style of presentation to what I do, which is fine. Some people want to watch something with more activity. Some people want to watch somebody who sits and reads like a news anchor man. Maybe I'm halfway in between. We need as many different styles of presentation so we can get as many people interested as possible. So that's what it's all about. Just seems silly to do or even promote. Could just imagine people watching Drinking Venom thinking they can also do it. Yeah, I'm not going to be doing it anytime soon. Snake wine, it sounds totally gross. Yeah, I'm not going to say it sounds like a good idea to me either. Why do parentes like to hide holes in the Northern Territory? So living in holes could mean a bunch of things. Firstly, it's just a convenient way to hide from potential predators, potential prey. But in the Northern Territory, you're also talking largely about the fact that it's hiding from the elements. If you're going to have a 45 or 50 degree day, reptiles don't like being that hot all the time. Goannas do like it hot, but they don't want to be 50 degrees for the whole day. So by going down a burrow, it's thermally stable. They can use burrows to cool down, come back out, bask up, go back down. Also, over a fairly large chunk of Australia, burrows is where, historically, the burrowing bettong lives. which before the rabbit took over Australia would have been a major food source for Parentes, but also where rabbits live. So burrows are very attractive homes to a lot of terrestrial goannas, not just Parentes. The sand goanna, Varanus panoptes, what's panoptes? The yellow spotted monitor would be his common name. They like going down holes as well. Sounds like Russian roulette drinking venom. In reality, you could do it 110 times and 109 you'd probably be okay. But I'm not going to. Correct, Punky. Silly act. For sure. Yeah. Don't worry, guys. I'm not going to do it. I'm not that way inclined. I'm happy with the people that watch already. I'm not going to do anything crazy like that. But, you can see, they are the reasons I'm against it. I don't really see the educational benefit. And I'd love to get more people watching. The more people that watch, the more we can put into visiting other facilities. But at the end of the day, I won't ever do anything that I don't find educational. So, probably gets this question a million times, but how do I get a venomous snake license? In every state, it's different. In Victoria, basically, it's terrible. In Victoria, it's basically you just pay extra money and you can keep a venomous snake. In New South Wales, Rami might be able to speak to this. New South Wales, my understanding is there's 3 categories. There's like A, B, and C, or 1, 2, 3, or something like that. You have to keep class 1 animals for a certain amount of time before you can move up. Western Australia, I believe, is the same. In Queensland, you've got to have what they call a damage mitigation permit. So to get a damage mitigation permit, you either have to have 2 written references from other snake keepers who are basically happy to write in and say, look, Joe Bloggs has handled my snakes. I'd be happy with him handling snakes unsupervised, and that, give him permission. Or you have to have done a certified course. What does renovate a crocodile exhibit? I know why snakes are put in crates, moved to another exhibit. Irwin family has rebuilt croc exhibits for years. Yeah, so renovate just means rebuild them. They're going to pull them apart, do them up a new way. Australians do that all the time. Also, if you're going to make a video about something, even if you don't need to renovate an exhibit, if you're a big place like Australia Zoo, catching up a crocodile to put in a box, to move it, to fix an enclosure is going to get all the news stations around. So they're going to do it even when they hurry. They need to do it just because it's good. Pay extra money in Victoria, but you also got to know the right peaks. Been looking to keep... Yeah, so you can get the permit to keep venomous snakes in Victoria too easily. Way too easily. But getting your hands on them is a little bit trickier. So, have you had any restrictions on cleaning elapids for years? Cleaning elapids, keeping elapids? I don't know. I think in Victoria they might be bringing in something where you've got to do some course or something like that. But I've had my venomous snake permit for 10 years now. So, I'm not up with what I'd have to do if I started from scratch today. Do I watch any other wildlife channels like Nerd or Clint? I watch Dingo from time to time. Mostly because I really like what Dingo does with his channel. Particularly, I like the fact that they're able to take their platform, they're able to take YouTube, and they're able to raise money to do things like dehorn rhinos and trap brown hyenas. And Dingo, I spoke to Dingo off the books, privately a number of times. And his heart is really in it. He puts his money where his mouth is, and he makes a difference for conservation. So I do make an effort to watch Dingo, just because I think he deserves the support. I watch a bit of Camp Kennan because I just like his outdoor enclosures. I would love our channel to be an Australian version of halfway between Dingo Dinkelmans, where I'd like to take from him, if we had a wildlife carer in Adelaide who says, look, I've got a wedge-tailed eagle in care and we need to build an aviary for it that's going to cost $4,000. I don't want to have a heap of viewers just so I can say I got 1 million viewers. But if I had 1 million viewers and that carer could come to me and I could say, look guys, this carer needs a $6,000 aviary to save this eagle. Can we raise $6,000? That'd be amazing. So I want to take that idea from Dingo, and Dingo knows it, so I'm not afraid to say it. But I'd love to have the display side like Kennan. If I could walk around outside and show this is all the animals outdoors. I don't live in the perfect place to do it, but there is some animals that are moving outdoors and some other animals that I'd like to keep outdoors. So yeah, halfway between Dingo Dinkelman's platform with Camp Kennan's facility. How's that? It'd be amazing. And look, at the moment, the last 18 months, we've really not done much. I've been flat out keeping bills paid and animals here, because we gone from having 2 or 3 shows a week to being unemployed. So I've been lucky that our Patreon supporters have helped us survive that time. But on the flip side, and I know my Patreon supporters, you guys are all amazing, you'll say you don't have to do anything. But on the flip side, I've felt like I've got to put more time into videos to give you back what you're contributing for. Now that shows are starting to hopefully pick up, touch wood, we'll have some more money to get back on track and start building the outdoor facilities that I want. We've already got some cool enclosures. Our wombat enclosure, there is a video on it from like 3 years ago. We've got some cool outdoor enclosures. We need to get our internet redone out here. We've had some trees pushed down recently, so the internet might be a bit better. Bamboo is a grass, but this picture frame is driftwood. So I had to remember that for a second. Thought you had me. But yeah, I'd love to have Dingo Dinkelman's platform and Camp Cannon's facility would be, if we went touch slaughter, that's what we'd be doing this week. Camp Cannon is great to watch. I do like it. What's the course called? There's a bunch of different people that run snake catching courses, snake handling courses. The government sucks. We need to open up. Yeah. Some states want to open up, some states don't. Yeah, Vic COVID screws us all over. I've been trying to make ends meet myself. But still doing Patreon. Sydney, I deeply appreciate everybody supporting on Patreon. But I will survive. I don't want anybody to be out of pocket and struggle because they're helping me. That being said, the last year, Patreon has helped us keep the lights on, keep the animals that we kept. We moved on a lot, but kept the ones that we kept. There's probably another month or 2 of things being like that. But come December, we've got bookings on the thing. So in the diary. So come December, January, February, we're hopefully going to get shows again. And our Patreon can go back to what it's supposed to do. And what we traditionally use Patreon for is we went to Adelaide. We've been to Adelaide twice. We filmed after the bushfires with a koala hospital. We filmed with yellow-footed rock wallabies. So basically, we use Patreon money to go and visit other facilities, film there, and to leave a donation with wherever we're filming. You know, the koala hospital that we visited, after the bushfires, they had koalas coming in left, right, and center, and they were kind enough to give me like a full day of their time. So after expenses for our trip to get there, we gave them everything that I had left because it just felt like the least I could do. So once bookings return to normal, that's going to be what Patreon is for. Like I said, we're here to make a difference. It's just that I've got to build a platform to make a difference. So that's going to be the goal. Got to keep some luxuries, otherwise life's not worth it. Thank you very much. But also, if you can spare $3.50 a week, it would be fab. $3.50 a week, $3.50 a month, guys. I would rather have, like $500, $1 a month patrons than have to take a bunch of $30 a month patrons, which I love our $30 a month patrons. But I feel bad taking too much. How are the shoulders feeling after all the swimming? Who's that said that? James. My shoulders are fine, James. For those of you who don't know, I visited my family in Melbourne for a little while, not long ago, and my brother James. I don't sit still very well. I don't like the idea of doing nothing. So I was in Melbourne for 6 days, and I decided in the 12.5 meter pool to swim 2,675 laps or something, which is the equivalent of swimming the English Channel, because I'm weird and I needed something to do. So yeah, I swam the English Channel in a tiny swimming pool. This olive python is so chill. It's usually like that. She's like this whenever she's out of her enclosure. But twice I pulled her out tonight, and both times she has gone to bite me when I take her out. So anything that comes in, she thinks is food. Do snakes fart? They certainly do sometimes. When finding northern hairy-nosed wombats in central Queensland, science, wombats dig burrows and have square poop. They certainly do. But you're not going to find northern hairy-nosed wombats just walking around central Queensland. So there's 2 places in the world you can find southern hairy-nosed wombats. One in St. George, I think it's Umarella Wildlife Park, and one near Emerald, which is Epping Forest National Park. The thing is, all northern hairy-nosed wombats currently alive in the world today are living within fenced-off national parks. So you're not allowed to go in there. But yeah, they do dig burrows. They're the largest subterranean mammal on the planet. Why do pythons and anacondas stretch their jaws? Yeah, so snakes in general don't dislocate their jaws, they stretch their jaws. So a snake's skull isn't like a human skull. I used to have a koala skull, something that I could check. But our lower jaws literally like pop into our top jaws. Snake skulls are kind of like your hand. You've got a bone where their skull, their eyes, everything fits, two top jaws, two bottom jaws, and then rather than being connected, they're held together by elastic. So, yeah. It means they can stretch to eat something substantially larger than the width of their own head. See you, Kyle. I finally won your court case. Congratulations. When you get settlement, I'm interested in increasing my donation. Do I have PayPal? I do have PayPal. On our YouTube channel, which is this, on our main thing, there's a link somewhere. If you click to About, there's a thing for the PayPal link there. We don't use it a great deal because, I don't know, with Patreon, I'm able to feel like I give you something back, but there is a PayPal link up there. Boo is a tank. Give her a kiss. I'd love to give Boo a kiss. As long as she doesn't bite me on the face. She's getting to be a big girl. Snakes love to fart because they can't hear it. Yeah, so they certainly can. I've got to clean up all this goanna poo on the ground soon. We still love you all. That's another one of our fantastic patrons, guys. Check out the Nightcap. They do a cool like talk show on this. I do have to appear on the Nightcap at some point in time, but it's been hard for the last couple of weeks. I've been fairly sleep deprived. Salmonella poisoning 101. Kiss a snake. Yeah, no. Well, Boo's a wombat, so Boo won't give me salmonella. She just might bite me on the face. But yeah, reptiles do carry salmonella, or have the potential to carry salmonella. Eccleston is an angel. Do a video on land mullet. If you have a land mullet and you live in Victoria, I will visit. I will do a video on it. The thing is, I can't just, I could, but I can't justify. I'm not going to buy an animal just to do a video on it and then sell it or something like this. So if I can get my hands on a land mullet to film with, I will do a video on land mullets. They're very, very cool, cool animals. What's the strictest reptile to keep in Australia? I don't know. Like there's some reptiles that the public will never be able to keep. You know, I was going to say pygmy blue tongues, but maybe one day they will. But things like Guthiga skinks, things like that, maybe even thorny devils, really, they're not suitable for the public. So no matter what licenses you have, unless you're a zoo open to the public or your Hillsville Sanctuary have a threatened species breeding program, the public will never be able to keep them. So they're pretty strict. If you're talking about an area like Western Australia, Tasmania both have very strict rules. In Tasmania, you can only keep reptiles native to Tasmania, which if you're interested in snakes, means you've got 3 species: the tiger snake, the copperhead, and the white-lipped snake, all of which are venomous. So there is no non-venomous snakes allowed to be kept as pets in Tasmania. Oh, Nick, you get too many land mullets. I've seen 15 today. All right, I'll have to come to Coffs and do a video. Whoever asks that, Gian, if you want to see us do a video on the land mullet, support us on Patreon. I convince your friends to support us on Patreon. We'll put some money aside to go visit Rami, who I've been meaning to do for a while, and we will catch, and I'll get bitten by a land mullet for you guys so I can do a video. Thorny devil's probably possible, but you're not going to have something, but you're going to have some strong ant colonies. Yeah, so thorny devils, you know, they're kept by facilities, but, and I think there's been 1 or 2 private people, but you're talking private people who live within the range. What's the land mullet? Eccleston, the land mullet is the largest skink species in Australia. And we're going to visit Tamara. Got to visit Tamara to see all the reptiles that she's got around her place. I think we're caught up on questions, guys. I'm going to start wrapping things up there. But thank you very much for watching. It's been 50 minutes. And we were on TikTok first. So I've still got a lot of animals to feed. We've got to do all the possums, the wombat, everything outdoors basically still has to be fed. So I will see you all next week. Hang on. We should do a video on paddy melons. I'd love to do videos on paddy melons, guys. tomorrow, you'll be okay. So yeah, I'd love to do videos on paddy melons. I've got some friends that have paddy melons in South Australia. So if I can get back to South Australia, I can do a video on paddy melons, red-legged paddy melons. There's red-legged and red-necked paddy melons. So yeah, I'll certainly have to do videos on paddy melons. I just have to get to these places to do them. And currently we can't cross the border. Does my daughter like being a big sister? She thinks it's fantastic. So Natasha is beautiful. She's a very, very cool snake. All right, guys, we're going to wrap things up there. But thank you for watching this long. Thank you for your support over the last 2 years. It's been amazing. It's the reason we still exist as a business. But I'm looking very forward to being able to stop relying on you guys and start putting all your fantastic contributions back into producing more videos, visiting more facilities, helping out some wildlife carers, putting more videos together. That's what the Patreon, the YouTube channel is all about. And we can go back to doing our birthday parties in schools and kindergartens. So it's going to be a very exciting summer. We've got a bunch more videos coming. Make sure you check on back on Sunday. We've got episode 2 of our series on Australia's most invasive species. And let me know in the comments after this video if next year you'd like another series on Australia's deadly dozen, the 12 most dangerous animals in Australia, or what I think are the 12 most dangerous animals in Australia. So let me know. Make sure you leave a thumbs up to this. Follow us on Facebook. Support us on Patreon if you guys want to. If you want to know how everybody here knows each other, we've got a Facebook group for our Patreon supporters. So everybody knows everybody over there. But thanks for watching, guys. Check on back Sunday for the episode 2 of Invasive Species, and back here next week. Between now and then, be nice to wildlife. Have a good one. Take care, guys.